So not only dumb and totally ignorant of everything, but utterly self-assured. If there were a clinical exam for self-esteem, she'd be in the 100th percentile. How do people get like that? Is it our education system? Is it high schools? Is it colleges? We wanted to talk to someone on the front lines of this who might know the answer. Nicholas Giordano is a professor of political science at Suffolk Community College, and he joins us tonight. Professor, thanks very much for coming on.
Hi, Tucker.
So there's a certain recognizable syndrome here where the people who know the least are the most self-confident. Where does that come from?
Well, it's the lack of critical thinking that exists. It's the superficial arguments they make that are completely unrealistic. If you look at the Green New Deal, it's incomprehensible. And when you're looking at it, she says the world's going to end in 12 years. So if we go with this plan and have to rebuild every building, it took us 13 years just to build the Freedom Tower, for instance. 6 years to build the Tappan Zee Bridge. Imagine having to do every single building in the United States up to new codes. It's just not going to work. And it's that they don't ask deep questions. The arguments are, it sounds good, people will support it because it's government giving us stuff, and so it's okay. But there are real consequences when you actually talk like this, because there are people that are going to take it seriously. You have a number of presidential candidates that have agreed with her plan. And when you're looking at the plan itself, you can't understand anything in it. It would lead to millions of people being underemployed or unemployed. Maybe they could learn code, who knows. It would lead to unconstitutional state violations because state and local governments are in charge of building codes. And so my question to her would be, has she read the Constitution, knows about the 10th Amendment and state rights?
No, but you heard, wait, but I think it's a fundamental misunderstanding. You heard her say what matters is that she's a really good person and you're not. And so I'm thinking, as I'm watching this, remember that whole fad where we were supposed to give our kids self-esteem and that was the panacea? Did we create people like this when we did that?
Well, we did. Two things. The motto of the customer is always right created an entitlement culture. Yeah. And then our children are precious also created the entitlement culture where everyone gets the trophy. When you're looking at it and you're trying to challenge the minds of the youth, they try and push back because they don't want to critically analyze the information to see if it really works. Page 10 of her New Deal talks about creating public ownership and receiving a percentage of compensation for the public ownership. Well, that's socialism. That's the very definition of socialism, and nobody's called her out on it in this sense. And it didn't work out so well for Venezuela. So is it really going to work out well for us?
No, not, I mean, I don't know. It's been great for, I guess, weight loss in Venezuela. They're starving.
They are,
eating zoo animals. No,
and that's part of the problem. There's no critical thinking. And not only do you have that part, you have even more concerning, it talks about persons of the United States. It doesn't say U.S. citizens or U.S. persons, which is the definition for citizen and legal residence.
No, you're right.
So that raises the question.
Anyone who shows up gets to take your stuff. I mean, you can see where this is going. Professor, we're out of time, unfortunately. I commend you for having the patience to try and train a more impressive next generation of critical thinkers. Thank you for that.
No problem.